This whole situation is just, as I said, a cobbled up piece of legislation now, a last-ditch effort by yourself to kind of save face and have this introduced here. And as I said, there are people out there, the whole situation regarding to AI, and that could be used to actually imitate a person's voice. And that voice could be, this is not my words now, these are words of very eminent professors and other people. It could be used and recorded, and a fake voice of a citizen or anybody else, a politician or anybody else. And that could be used in to be deemed a hate offence. It certainly could well be. And in that case, a citizen will be dependent on his laptop or his records and computer or whatever to make sure it was nothing to do with him, but this is how farcical and how dangerous it is. And with the evolution of AI and what's going on and what they can do, and we've seen it all over the world. So, as I said, Tim Morehouse, the Director of Artificial Intelligence and Automation at Ernst & Young of Ireland, is quoted by The Times. While deepfakes have long been considered just to be fake video material, it is important to realise that this is now also spreading to both voice and text-based media. That's what I'm talking about. While in the early days, deepfakes mostly damaged people's reputation, which is serious enough, globally they are now used to impersonate people to commit crimes such as financial fraud, and examples of people calling parents with imitations of their children's voices to ask for money or to have, for example, being observed. That's what's happening and can happen. So this legislation should be totally taken back, leave it to a more considered time, and the fact that we've only limited amount of time here for tonight again. Why the rush? Rush legislation is often or nearly always bad legislation, and a person's your desire to have it under your belt, so to say, as you've got this passed, I don't think you'll get any kudos from any source for it. And DCU Professor of Computing, Alan Smeaton, who is also a member of the government's AI Advisory Council, is also quoted. And he said, and I quote, text scams and phone scams only started a few years ago. They are now part of our society and part of what it is like to live in 2024. The same will apply to deepfakes. You need to have your wits about you. As artificial intelligence technology has become more powerful, it's also become easier to use. The latest version of daft.ie is built into ChatGPT and Bing, while Google is offering its own tools to free to users. So this is a whole area that's open to widespread abuse and misinterpretation and abuse. And there's no mention of it in your legislation. So your statement rings very hollow that the government's duty is to protect its citizens. You have failed utterly in that, and you're pushing through this legislation here to try and tie people up in knots and try and intimidate ordinary citizens from having their voice heard. You don't like the voice of the people. Your government has been the most anti-people, ordinary people that I've ever seen here in my term with 4 governments. And I don't know why you've such a dislike to them, and the games you're playing with them and the legislation you're passed is not a Caro Leshnadina. It's not helping the people. It's all the time becoming more aggressive. But this, pardon the saying, beats Banagher out completely. And I and my colleagues in the rural independents are totally opposed to it.